The so-called Maryland dad and Kilmar Abrego Garcia now faces deportation to the small South African nation Eswatini. ICE chose it after the alleged MS-13 gang member listed over 20 countries where he said he would fear persecution or torture. Abrego Garcia has already rejected an offer from the Trump administration to plead guilty to human smuggling charges. He's currently at a detention center in Virginia. Now, for more on all of this, let's bring in former acting ICE Director Jonathan Fahey. Jonathan, as always, thank you for being here. I want to bring up the president's latest Truth Social post regarding the Chicago raids that are anticipated to start this weekend. And it says, "I love the smell of deportations in the morning. Chicago about to find out why it's called the Department of War." Jonathan, the president clearly wants this fight. We know we're going to see ICE raids at some point. That is the anticipation. We think there's going to be protests responding to that, and then potentially the National Guard troops sent into Chicago. I mean, do you see that as how this is going to play out?
Well, I think it's going to play out that there's going to be ICE raids or whatever you want to call them and massive numbers of illegal aliens arrested. I think that's unquestionably true, and they're going to be deported. That's unquestionably true. But one of the things that's really important here is when you think about Chicago, part of the issue here, and I think a very big part of the issue, is that they're a sanctuary city, meaning they fight even allowing ICE to deport the most serious criminals that are sitting in jail, forcing ICE to have to go out into the community and arrest them, and thereby arresting other people that are here illegally, while putting the community in danger, while putting agents in danger. I think that Truth Social post is quite interesting because it's funny that you just see the Democrats immediately overreact to it. But the fact is we are going to do that, and it's his job to do it. President Trump has a responsibility, and so does ICE, to not only arrest but deport illegal aliens. And he's going to do this, and you've seen it from other instances. There is a resolve. And I think, Governor Pritzker, despite all of his rhetoric, may want to dial it down because I don't think they really want the confrontations that they had in L.A., which would force the National Guard to be brought in, because if Chicago, its residents, its politicians are impeding these agents in performing their duties, President Trump has every right and, in fact, a responsibility to keep them safe, and doing so by bringing in the National Guard.
You mentioned Governor J.B. Pritzker. Let's put up his response really quick on Truth Social, on social media to President Trump's Truth Social post. And he calls him a strong man, a scared man, and he says that Illinois won't be intimidated by a wannabe dictator. He says the President of the United States is threatening to go to war with an American city. This is not a joke. At the same time, I'm thinking about what's happening in Washington, D.C., where you have the mayor of Washington, D.C. saying thank you for bringing in National Guard troops and for bringing in all of these agencies. They saw an 87% drop in carjackings and double-digit percentage drops in crime there. It seems to be that J.B. Pritzker is in a pretty difficult position here, because if you've got D.C.'s mayor saying that this is working, and then you've got the president saying, look, I'm willing to help, it's a tough situation there for Democrats who are now attacking the president.
Yeah, it is really interesting because you see Muriel Bowser in D.C. recognizes it's been beneficial. And the only difference is between the two of them is J.D. Pritzker wants to be the Democratic nominee for president. So the way to raise his profile and his status within the party is to oppose Donald Trump at all cost and be pro-open borders, pro-amnesty. But it is interesting. If he just said, hey, let's cooperate, let's get the dangerous criminals out of here, Chicago would be better off, Illinois would be better off, all of us would be better off, but he won't do that. And it's very cynical what he's doing, because he does not recognize, or he will not admit, that Chicago has been shielding serious criminals from being removed from the community. He totally denies that fact. But what he's trying to do is instill fear in the immigrant community and then portray himself as somehow a heroic figure standing up to something that actually isn't going on. The Trump administration is trying to remove illegal aliens and and people that are here, illegal aliens that have committed crime and serious crime, almost everyone agrees that's a good thing, but J.D. Pritzker is putting politics ahead of his citizens, and I think Donald Trump is not going to be deterred, and ultimately, Chicago will be better off for this, and just like Washington, D.C., I live here, and it's gotten a lot better. It's noticeably better in 3 weeks, and Chicago will be better off probably in 3 weeks as well.
We'll see what happens when it comes to the National Guard. We know that that's moving through the courts. We know a federal judge said that the president should not have used the National Guard troops in L.A. That is now before an appellate court. So the way in which these National Guard troops potentially could be used in Chicago will be a point of contention as well. Something certainly to watch over the next few weeks. Former acting ICE Director Jonathan Fahey, thank you.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.